Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. Hope everybody had a good week and we are ready to pour. And like I said last week, I'm going to be sharing kind of my journey and how I started pouring and kind of my health journey and how that led me to paint pouring. So, I'll get to that in just a moment. But today we are not going to be pouring on any fresh canvases. All the paint pours we are going to be doing today, we are going to be painting a second layer. And the way we are going to paint a second layer, we're not going to do a whole pour to completely cover it. We're going to do a layer of Floetrol and then do string pulls, swipes, blown pours over the top. So some of the original pour will be peeking through, and then some of it will be just a new paint pour on top. Because Floetrol, US Floetrol, American Floetrol, and that's what I use in my paints as pouring medium, but just plain Floetrol right out of the bottle dries perfectly clear. So you can use Floetrol and you can put down a base of Floetrol and it will dry clear, and you can do like a swipe, you can do a string pull, all kinds of things on top of your paint pour just by using a little bit of Floetrol. So I'm going to do a whole variety of those today. None of the paint pours we'll be doing today will be fresh, brand new paint pours. All of them are going to be on top of another paint pour. So like if I have a paint pour that has areas that I do like, but it's not quite, I have lots of examples of those where it's all right, but it needs a little something more. I've got this one where it was a beautiful pour actually before it dried, but it dried very dark. It doesn't have much going on. We're going to do something on top of it, but we're still going to be seeing that little bit peeking through. So I'm going to show a big example of a bunch of those. So, hey, Whitney, how are you doing? How are you? So I've got a variety of metallics and color shift paint. That is what really works well. You can use any colors with this technique, but I like to use like metallics and color shift. So today we have the purple flash, and it's just mixed up one part of the paint to 3 parts Floetrol. We also have the plum flash. Ooh, that's got a lot of shimmer pretty in it. So, and then we have extreme sheen 24 karat gold. And I have taken Craft Smart's plum here, this one here, Craft Smart Plum, and I mixed it with pearl. So I made it a shimmery pearl color. Now this pour does already have that same color in it and some black. And so now it's this nice lighter shimmery plum color. Now I took the, this one's hard to see on camera where it's shimmery, but it is the pearl white with cameo pink, making it real nice and pearly, but that's kind of thick. We're going to add a little bit of water to that. Your yearly cold. Oh, do you have allergies maybe, or you just get a yearly cold? My mom kind of gets, but it's kind of like hay fever. She gets a yearly allergy kind of hay fever thing this time of the year. But well, you said you're getting over it. Well, I'm glad you're getting over it. That sucks when you don't feel well. So hopefully you're feeling better and better. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do a string. So I mixed a little bit of water because we want it just, the right consistency as we normally would have. That's still even a little bit thick. We're going to mix a little bit water. Just when the weather changes. Yeah, all right. When the weather gets, starts going into fall. Well, that sucks. At least you're hopefully feeling a little bit better. Uh, I know when the weather changes for me, I more feel it in my like joints and my bones. I feel like an old lady when the weather changes. But so, yeah, today I kind of wanted to talk about strokes and the signs and symptoms of strokes because I actually had my first stroke at 25. So, and it was a shock. So, I kind of wanted to talk about that today. So, we're going to use these shimmery colors here, and I'll explain what I'm doing as I kind of tell my story a little bit. And that stroke is what kind of led me to paint pouring. So, that's why I wanted to talk about that today. And also because on October 21st every year, I call that kind of stroke day. So, tomorrow is October 21st. And on October 21st, 2005, sorry, excuse me. And on October 21st, 2005 is when I had my first stroke. So, and then when I had my second major stroke, that's when I discovered paint pouring. And so we'll get into all that. But what I'm going to do here is this pearl white. That's just the pearl white mixed with Floetrol. So it's just a shimmery white. So we're going to do a feather string pull. I have a whole bunch of yarn. It's just regular acrylic yarn. And so we've got a 6x6 inch canvas. We don't need a very big one. We kind of have this curve here. We're going to do a shimmery feather right over the top of that. So I'm going to show you that in just a moment. So we're going to use this smaller piece of yarn, and we just have plastic sheeting here. We're going to put a little bit of the paint here, dip the string in it, and do a feather pull. But we need to put a layer of Floetrol, and so we're going to cover it completely with Floetrol, but Floetrol dries completely clear. So once the Floetrol is completely dry, all you'll see is the feather and the bottom, the original pour. This one, you'll see it kind of sticking up through. So it'll look, see, when I put the Floetrol, it'll look kind of milky over the top, but it'll dry. Once it's all dry, it'll dry clear. Hey, Janice, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. How are you doing? Yasmin, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? So today's paint pours are all like second layers. They're already dried canvases that I want to give it a little more oomph to. Everything I'll be pouring today will be a second layer, kind of giving it a little better oomph. So what I was starting to talk about was October 21st, 2005. So just a second, we just want a thin layer so you can kind of see where you can't see the pour real well, but it will peek up through once that dries. Now we're going to do a string pull through the middle of that. And the reason you want to put down the Floetrol, it kind of gives it something to kind of, the second layer to kind of glide across. It makes it, dry evenly. So that's kind of why you want that Floetrol, to give it something to kind of, the string pull to kind of glide across. All is great there. Oh, good, good. We're doing good. We're doing real good. Oh, Yasmin says struggling with health. So looking to distract. Oh, I understand that. Well, today I'm actually going to talk about my health journey. So we're going to put these, this is that color shift, and I'm going to just put some down here and do a string pull while I'm talking about it here. So back 2005, October 21st. So tomorrow marks, that'll be what, 16 years? So, I was pretty healthy. I had a few health problems. I had an infant at home. It hadn't been the easiest pregnancy, but not terribly bad, and we were doing okay. Had a little infant, and I left home feeling okay. I had a really, really, really bad headache, and I was a new mom. I didn't know, like, was this headache normal? Like, not sleeping headache from being up with baby. I wasn't real sure, but just a second, sorry, trying to pay attention, get this to do this string pull here. And so I had been a CNA, a few years prior. I had been a CNA. So I kind of knew the signs of a stroke. I knew what to look for a stroke, but that was not what I thought of that morning. So what started happening is I had a really, really, really bad headache. But I was going to drive to Mike's work. My husband Mike's work. How am I? I'm doing real well. I'm doing good. Thank you so much for asking. Doing good. Sorry if I missed any of the chat today. I'm trying to like focus on telling the story and like doing the pours. So I'm gonna try to keep an eye on the chat. It is the computer is to my right. The chat is on the laptop and it's to my right. And every once in a while, I forget to look over there. So I need to remember to look up at the chat. But so that's October 21st, 2005. It's early in the morning. Mike is working, somewhat near us because he normally worked kind of far away. But that day he was working close by. So I thought, oh, I'll take him lunch. So I was getting the baby ready and we were going to go take Mike lunch. Well, like, I noticed that I couldn't like smile. I couldn't like laugh. It was weird, okay? But I didn't know what was going on. I was a little, having a stroke out of it, but I didn't know it at that time. So I got in the car and I started driving and it was a stick shift. And so my stroke was left-sided. My left side completely went out. But it took a couple hours for my left side to completely. So like putting in the clutch and driving became very difficult. But I made it. I made it to Mike's work and I showed up there with lunch. But I said to him, I'm not feeling so good. And I think Mike's in the chat, but I said something along the lines of, I can't laugh or I can't smile. I can't smile. And so he looked up at me and realized my whole face was droopy. Like I couldn't close my eyes. I couldn't smile. I couldn't, none of that. So here I am just taking the yarn and I'm just poking that down in, getting color on that. And we're going to do just a regular string pull feather. And so Mike, we tried to call my mom, couldn't get a hold of her. We decided to go to the hospital. We weren't sure what was happening with me, but we decided to go to the hospital. By the time I got to the hospital, I had stopped. I couldn't walk. I couldn't close my left eye. I couldn't lift my arm. So it was quite apparent something was going on. Something was happening for sure. So after, I don't know, a couple days of testing, they finally figured out I had had a stroke, and it was caused by I have a gene mutation that we did not know I have, and I have a clotting disorder. So my blood is like maple syrup. It's very thick. I'm on lots of blood thinner. Well, right now, thankfully, I'm technically not. I have been at times on lots and lots of blood thinners. Thankfully, right now, I am somewhat healthy and we just monitor it. And I take a baby aspirin a day. But thankfully, right now, I'm not on tons of blood thinners. So we did half of the feather. We're going to do the other half. And now this will dry clear. So we'll see this bottom pore sticking up through. So I want to talk about then. So that was 2005. That was the first stroke. I was in the hospital for like a month, had a baby, and, had already had a baby. And now in the hospital, trying to care for a baby while being in the hospital. It was nuts. But they taught me how to walk again. They taught me how to open and close my eye. My eye was stuck open. Let me now pull this here. And we're just pulling the other side of the feather, which it doesn't show up on screen the best, but I'll show this next week. Now I'm just kind of shaking off the excess there because I can make a skin out of that. So then I had to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to swallow. I had to learn, all those things again. And then later, a year or so later, had another child, and everything was going good. Then I had other little health issues, pneumonia, different things. And then I had a hernia and a hernia repair surgery. Well, at that hernia repair surgery, so we're fast forwarding now to 2013. So that's when I learned how to paint pour. So that's where it gets into how I learned how to paint pour and my strokes, how it led me to paint pouring. So 2013, I had a surgery to repair a hernia. Let me just show you this here. It's kind of hard to see, but once that dries, you'll be able to see that shimmery feather across the top. So now we're going to do one on here. So let me get this one set aside, and we're going to see how this one dried very dark. We're going to do a swipe on here, but let me get back to my story here. And if anybody has any questions, let me know. Let me set that aside, and I'm going to put a layer of Floetrol, and then we're going to do a swipe. So anyways, now it's 2013. I've recovered from the first stroke. I've had like a licensed daycare, just all kinds of stuff going on. And now I've had a hernia. Now I've had a hernia repair surgery. A repair of the repair, actually, is what I've had to have a repair of the surgery. And it's supposed to be like an outpatient. I'm supposed to just have one in-day surgery and home that evening, end of surgery that morning and home that evening. That's what it's supposed to be. Well, I had the surgery, everything went great. Everything went just fine. Then because it was just a same day surgery, as they were discharging me, all of a sudden I had a stroke. And so I had my second major stroke December 2013. Well, that first stroke had been really hard and a big journey to recover from. And so I was determined not to be in the same place after this second stroke. So I physical therapy and all that good stuff. And the physical therapist suggested, had I ever heard of maybe doing some art therapy? She didn't say anything about paint pouring, but just art therapy. And I thought, yes, I'll do some art to kind of try to recover. My left side was weak, left-sided weakness. I'll learn to do some art. Well, that's when I learned to paint pour in December 2013, January 2014. And the reason I learned to paint pour was the tilting of the canvas. I had left-sided weakness, so I needed to teach my brain to work with my right hand to be able to tilt the canvas at the, give the signals to do it the right way, to tilt it. So, hey, Belle, welcome, Belle. Thank you for stopping by. So what we're doing here is I've already got a paint pour that we're putting a second layer on. I've got some color shifts, some metallics. I put a little bit of purple, and I'm going to do a swipe across it, and it's going to show still. You can kind of see the Floetrol actually already starts to dry. But then you'll be able to see the bottom pour peeking up through, and you'll see the top one. So we're going to do a swipe here in just a minute with a palette knife. So that is how I started paint pouring, is by learning how to try to, after my stroke. And so for me, it is a huge therapy for me. So that's why I like to share what I've learned and share any tips, tricks, anything, because to me, it is what paint pouring has done for me. I really want to share that with everybody, but it has literally saved me mentally. It has saved me physically by now, like tilting that canvas back and forth. So I'm going to go ahead now. Yes, huge therapy. It is the best therapy. Yes. And so that's why I wanted to share my story and my health journey and my strokes and everything with everybody, because it is, yes, it was a terrible tragedy. It was horrible. It changed our lives. But I don't know if I would have gotten this into art. I did crafts. I did scrapbooking and card making and paper crafts and a little beading, a little crochet, a little watercolor, I didn't really paint too much. Both my grandmothers painted, so I mean, it was definitely in my blood, but I didn't really too much. But after my strokes, trying to therapy and trying to teach myself to move my hand again, that's what's got me how I discovered it. So I'm going to go ahead and blow out the edges. You can kind of see where the edges have kind of done it, what I would normally do with blowing it out anyway. So that's kind of cool. But it'll dry with the black still in the background and that neon kind of peeking up through. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, exactly. It's hope. And that's what exactly I want people to realize and to and I wanted it to get out there that this is a huge, especially for strokes, because of the whole moving and the brain signals to move at the right time with your right hand. But this was December 2013, January 2014. So paint pouring was not a big thing. I kind of just started randomly on a whim doing it. And then later I saw who Anne Marie oh, I cannot think of her name. I'll have to bring her up in a later live stream but she's a paint pour artist, Anne Marie. She's from from Europe. And I saw her and she was mixing things with the paint and making it flow even more than and then that's when I learned to mix things with it. and what silicone and cells and all that fun stuff was. But at first, I didn't know all that. I just knew throwing some paint on the canvas and moving it around. Then I learned pouring mediums and silicone and all that good stuff. So, all right, I'm going to kind of give you a close up of this one. It's got a lot of color shift. It'll have a nice shimmer to it there. I'm going to go ahead and move that aside. It's got a lot of lacing, but the plain Floetrol will dry clear. So all the milky white will be that bottom pour showing up through. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab another one. So this one here is from last week. We poured this one last week. Normally you want to let me move that out of the way to get this slid right under there. It is dry. It's dry enough it's not cured. It's only been a week, but so we're going to go ahead and pour on it, but you probably need to wait, a good amount of time doing this technique. So this one, what we're going to do is we're going to do a blown kind of bloom in the center. We're going to put we need to put the Floetrol. We need to put the Floetrol. It'll help that flow. So we need to, I almost forgot. We're going to kind of make that Floetrol not mess up that center. We're going to try. We're going to use the similar colors to what we have in the background. Going to get a nice clean palette knife to just spread that around. So, strokes. Yeah, I was 25 when I had my first stroke. You would not think I worked in nursing homes prior to that. I knew the signs of a stroke, but I didn't really think, I was young. I didn't think I was having a stroke. Never ever realized, do think about young people can have strokes. Young, very healthy appearing people can have strokes. It could be anyone. So everyone needs to know the signs of a stroke, because that second stroke, the big thing that made it not be like a humongous deal, I put too much, so I'm going to get the cup and I'm going to kind of get a little bit. And that's fine. You can, if you get too much, just pour it off there and spread it about. So everyone needs to know the signs and symptoms of a stroke, because they have a drug called TPA. And if you've had a stroke and you get TPA, what's best is within an hour, but if within a few hours of a stroke and you can get this medication, it will help dramatically. The first stroke, I did not get it. So I feel like that is what made the recovery of the second one much, much better, because I was being discharged from the hospital right then. I started having a stroke. So what they had to do was, because the discharge paperwork had already gone through, I had just had same day surgery. So since the discharge paperwork had already gone through, they had to completely discharge me, take me down to the ER. My surgeon, my anesthesiologist, they all went with me to the ER, and I had to be checked into the ER as a new patient, administered the TPA, and it's a clot busting drug. And getting that medication is what really makes a huge difference. So if you suspect somebody's having a stroke, you've got to get them to the doctor as fast as you can so they can get that medication as fast as they can. So that is the plum from, yes, Anne-Marie Riddenhoff. That is exactly, Janice said, I hadn't been looking up, I'd been looking down. So I finally looked up to the, Mike says, glad I got the TPA. You had the stroke after the surgery, yes. Anne-Marie Riddenhoff was the first person I saw actually like mixing pouring mediums and stuff in with her paint. And I was like, that's what I need. And so that's when I started kind of doing the pours with silicone and pouring medium and doing real pours. And so that was a game changer for me. But So yeah, I had to be admitted back through the ER, even though I was already at the hospital. We had to go through the whole process of being admitted back to the hospital. And then they were able to give me the TPA, and that is what made a dramatic difference with my recovery. So, signs of a stroke. If you ask somebody to smile, and when they smile, their face is droopy on one side, that can be their mouth, that can be their eyebrow, that can be both. But if you notice a difference in when you ask somebody, if you feel like they may be having a stroke, if you ask them to smile and their smile is not normal, that's a huge deal. If you ask them to raise their eyebrows, like to raise your eyebrows and both eyebrows don't raise, just one eyebrow raises, or if you ask them to blink and one eye doesn't blink properly like the other one, or you can ask them to touch their nose. If they raise their hand up to touch their nose, but can't really find, like they're fine finding their nose with one hand, but the other hand, they can't they can't find their nose, that's a huge sign. Just slurred speech, stumbling, the worst headache of your life. If it is just a sudden, oh my God, headache out of nowhere, that's a sign. Um, and raising your hands, like you put both hands out in front of you, raising them up, and only one hand raises and the other hand does not raise. Try to get them to raise both hands. And you call 911 immediately if any of those are signs of a stroke. So, oh, flaring your nostrils. I could not flare my nostrils. Sorry, it's going out of focus. What?
You could flare nostrils.
Yeah, I could flare, like when you flare your nostrils, only one nostril would flare. The other nostril just didn't flare. So, all right, now I'm going to blow this out with my aquarium tubing. I just blow through the aquarium tubing, creating kind of flower on the surface, kind of an abstract bloom. And so this bottom pour will dry, this all dry clear, and you'll only see this bloom and then this peeking up through. So I'm going to go ahead and blow that out. All right, let me catch my breath and then I will go back in for 4 more. I kind of like to let it kind of settle, see what it's doing, and then come back in. So, yeah, so that was my first stroke was just crazy, crazy. We didn't really know what was going on. Second stroke was in a way easier, but in a way almost scarier because then that time we knew, like, oh, this is what we're in for, but we also knew how to respond a lot better. So, yeah, that's how I discovered paint pouring, and how I got into paint pouring was because of my strokes. So, as terrible as it was, as a tragedy as it was absolutely horrible and changed our lives forever. You got to look at the positive, and I try to pull the positive out of every situation. And that's the positive, is it? I now have this art and stuff. So that's why I like to share it with everyone. All right, catch my breath a tiny bit. All right. So that is also why I kind of chose to do paint pours that were all right. They were good, but let's just add a little something to them, kind of spice them up a little. And I kind of thought that kind of represented a little bit of kind of my life, how the stroke kind of spiced it up a little bit, you know. So I thought that would be kind of cool to kind of transform these paint pours into something else, transform the not so good into a positive. So, all right, that is a lot of color shift. And I did mix some of this acrylic pearlescent medium with this one. So the camera doesn't really pick it up, but once they're dry, like next week, I'll be able to kind of move them around and show you the shimmer to it because it really is shimmery on there. Yeah, definitely. And thank you for being here and supporting us and listening to my, stories in my life each week. And I hope to, I just like to share share the newest things I'm learning or the newest products or any tips I've learned or any of that. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and move this aside. This is a 10 by 10 inch. So we have a couple of 8 by 10 inches now. But that's kind of what we're doing today is pours that are second layers. So this one is one I did, oh gosh, I probably did this one 2 or 3 years ago. This one's been done a long time. And I thought about there's some spots in here that would make awesome jewelry. I thought about cutting this canvas off and just picking out the really good parts, making jewelry out of it. I couldn't really decide. So now I think I have finally decided. I think we're going to do some string pull flowers on this one. So we're still going to be able to see the bottom pour. We're going to do it with some of the color shifts, the metallics, but we're going to string pull some flowers through this one is what I think. So we're going to put some Floetrol down so that the string kind of has something to glide across and it makes it everything even out. So you don't need a ton, just a real small layer, and that's just straight Floetrol from the bottle. I've just put it in a yogurt cup because it's like easier to if I use the bottle, sometimes I'll pour too much out. It's easier to kind of maneuver too with just a little bit in a yogurt cup. But it is just straight Floetrol, which will dry perfectly clear. So I have started doing, I am filming a new series that's going to be embellishing. So this will be one of the videos as will be coming up is embellishing pours by doing a second layer, a third layer. So even if you get done with this second layer and you let it dry, you can come in and do a third layer on top. That looks super cool too. So one of the videos coming up will be kind of this technique of putting Floetrol down and doing a second layer. So we're going to go ahead and do these similar colors, but we're going to go ahead and right here on the same, we don't really want that turquoise. So we're going to do similar colors minus that turquoise. So I'm just putting down on this plastic sheeting just because it's easy to dip the string from there. That is plum with a little bit of pearl white, and then plum without the pearl white. Then this one is the purple flash, and I do have some of the plum flash. And none of them have silicone, but being metallics, they just kind of sell up anyways without silicone. And that's some of the permanent violet. some of this Cameo Pink with the pearlescent. And then we're going to dip just regular old yarn. You could do a chain pull. You could do with baker's twine. You could do string. I'm just got regular acrylic yarn, regular cheap, you know, Red Heart brand yarn. So, and this is just one way of many ways you can kind of embellish, jazz up a pour. So kind of a pour that you know, you don't want to pour over. There are okay spots, but you're not 100% happy with it. This is a great way to give it a little something more. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just taking this popsicle stick, kind of pushing the paint down, the string down in the paint. And then we're just going to come up and do a kind of like a string pull flower. We're going to do several of those across the surface. So we just back and forth and then just pull it straight down. And we're going to do a couple of those. You just dip it back in. And once it's wet, it's easier. It dips in a little bit easier. It's that first time when it's dry, you got to kind of push it in there because it's not wanting to do it. Going just below that and doing similar back and forth and then just straight down like that. All right. After you do it a couple times, you might get a lot of that Floetrol. You could just squeeze it off there. Yeah, it kind of makes it 3D effect, especially if you use the color shift. This is a great way to use your color shift paints. They really pop sitting on top of there. They really, that's what I love to really make some 3D when it's color shift. So now we're just doing the same thing across. But all that original pour will show up underneath. And it'll just be peeking right out there. And you'll see it because the Floetrol dries clear. So I'm not sure. I can't decide. I think we'll do it one more time. One more time. All right, so that is just one way of embellishing your pours, but I'm going to be doing this series coming up where I'm going to embellish pours in so many different ways, totally out of the box, different ways that you wouldn't, I don't think anybody has thought of, but you never know. And some that other people have done too. So yeah, you kind of get some cells, some lacing, and that's just with metallics, and Floetrol just kind of creates that kind of lacing kind of already with metallics mixed with the Floetrol. So all right, let me kind of give you a, and that'll be nice and shimmery across the surface there. But all right, we have another 8x10. This one also, I believe I did it a long time ago. This one I thought would look cool. I'm actually going to turn it this direction. And I was thought about doing a swipe. So I'm going to do a line of the colors in the middle. And so we're going to do a central swipe. So we got to get our layer of Floetrol. That's what helps this process work and glide it along to do a second layer, is putting that base layer of just Floetrol. So you can still see that bottom, that original pour peeking up through. Before I completely cover it, see there's some fun, nice spots in this. I really like the colors, but there's some spots where it just, I'm not, completely happy with. So we're going to go ahead and jazz it up with another layer. And you can do all kinds of different, you can do swipes, blown pours, string pulls. You can do a dirty pour, a flip cup in just a certain area. You can do all kinds of techniques right over the top. You can do a Dutch pour just in a certain area to kind of have the bottom peeking up through, but a Dutch pour over the top. But I think it was last week, maybe it was a week or two ago, I did a pour that was some flames. Let me just a second, I'll show you that. So I did this 6x6 inch, and it was kind of to represent fire, flames, and I do really like it, but I think it would look great in kind of 3D flame action if I do another layer. But we're not going to do that on this live stream. On, I believe, like Friday, the video will be this one done with a second layer. Or maybe, I don't know, in a couple of videos from now, I don't want to say for sure Friday, but sometime around Friday, the weekend, the video will be a second layer of this one. So I'm going to show you that in a coming up video, doing more flames on top with the same technique of putting down some Floetrol and then doing the same right on top. So that is just one of the videos coming up. But I'm going to go ahead and put down a line through the center. We're going to use some turquoise. This is Cheap Paints turquoise, and this one does have Floetrol. Does have silicone. And some more opaque color, so it's going to really cover what you do swipe with that one. Now these more shimmery translucent colors really don't cover the bottom so much. Opaque colors are going to cover your first original pour more than the translucent colors. We're really going to get a lot there, but that's all right. And that's 24 karat extreme sheen gold. All right, so now I'm going to take and come in with my palette knife. This is a big palette knife. Let's see if we got a smaller one here. I'm going to come in with this smaller palette knife, and I'm going to just swipe through the center here. Oh, okay. USPS is delivering. We ordered some of the flat rate boxes, so I guess they're here. And they say that this year postage is going to be so behind with holiday shopping. So I'm trying to get my Etsy shop all loaded and listed with new items and trying to get all my packaging materials. So I ordered some boxes, and Mike says they're here now. So we're just kind of getting a nice lacing over the top of that bottom pour. But got lots of new jewelry boxes coming into the Etsy shop. Got lots of new stuff working on. All right. So now I'm going to give this a, so you can see those first ones I really did. They're already really lacing up and sewing. Takes a moment. These ones, they're not quite just yet, but they will. They'll get more like that. And then all that that white kind of milky will dry, and it will be clear, and we'll see the bottom one peek up through with just this shimmery kind of across the top. Gave it just a little bit of a torch, not too much. Now you can come in with your tubing and kind of the spots where it's kind of definite lines, I'm just kind of breaking that up a little bit, but just lightly, not too much. All right. Yeah, it kind of gives it that 3D floating look. So yeah, it's a great way to just kind of do something with those pores that you don't want to exactly pour over, because you do kind of like it, but it's not exactly what you like. So it's a great thing to do with those. And it's kind of hard to see on camera, but it does have quite the shimmery color shift effect, which will just be shimmer on top of that original pour. So, but yeah, let me go ahead and get that one moved aside, and we're going to get another, we'll get another string pull going on here. All right, so we have a 6 by 6 inch canvas actually. So this one was, it was a nice pour. It was really nice when it was, but then it dried so super dark. So I kind of think this one, let's turn it, no, maybe, I'm not sure yet. Maybe we'll leave it this way. And so we're going to do some more of the string pull kind of flowers, just kind of through here. Or the next one, we're going to do string pull flowers. This one, we're actually going to do with this world's smallest leaf blower. And we're just going to blow kind of shimmer all over the top of this one. So we're going to go ahead and put our layer of our Floetrol, just a small little layer. So this last weekend, we went on our little hike. We've been trying to go on a weekly hike. And so the last couple of weekends, we had looked for mushrooms, and we had gotten chanterelles and all kinds. But this past weekend, we went to more up towards Mount St. Helens. So we live near Mount St. Helens in Washington State. And so it's just so gorgeous up there. So we went on a drive and went on a nice little hike, and we hiked down to this kind of this dam area that they have up there, this man-made reservoir. And the fall foliage, all the fall colors, oh, that was so pretty. We looked at all the fall colors, and it was nice. So I am going to randomly kind of put some lines down, and then we're going to come in with the world's smallest leaf blower and kind of blow this out. So it's kind of going to just be covered completely in almost a blown pour. These are kind of some more translucent colors. The color shift colors dry pretty translucent. So once that dries, it'll just be kind of some nice translucent colors over the top. And we have this, this is just the pearl white. So we're going to put quite a bit of that down. Blow that all over the top. All right, so now we have our plum color that we made up. I'm going to go ahead and put some silicone. I'm just putting 2 drops of the Spot On treadmill oil. Metallics will automatically kind of sell up, but we're just going to kind of help it along. And we're just getting it all over. We're not, because we're just going to blow it all over the surface here. So I think this one would be super fun to come back. And so this is going to be the second layer. We're going to actually use this one as one to come back as like a third layer and such. So we can try that. All right. So I'm going to use this guy, the world's smallest leaf blower. It kind of, It's loud. It's not too loud, but if you do have headphones on, I will warn you now, you might want to go ahead and turn down the volume or something. But I'm real quick before I do that, I looked down, I saw the extreme sheen. I want to just put just a little, not too much, but it's just such a pretty color. Okay, now we're going to go ahead. We're going to be turning on the leaf blower thing. Yes, it was so pretty. I will share maybe a picture, maybe on my community tab, or possibly I'll have to share a picture with you guys of. I took some really good pictures of the fall foliage with the water, and the water was so nice and still that the reflection of in the water was just so pretty. So we're going to go ahead and blow this all around. But this is going to be a second layer, and then we're going to wait until it dries in a couple of weeks, and we'll come back in with a third layer. So let me go ahead and just I'm just going to randomly just get it blown all over. So it is going to get slightly louder. All right, so those are mostly translucent colors. This one is kind of semi-translucent. So we will be able to see that other pour peek up out underneath. So now I have created a few air bubbles. So I'm going to come in with the torch, mainly just to pop the air bubbles. So this one, you'll be able to see it more when it's dried, but it's got that nice shimmery layer across the top. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one away. Now this next one, I don't remember. I did this one quite a while ago. I don't remember if it was on a live stream, if it was on a video. It does have some metallic green in it, kind of some pops of these metallic green. Again, it's all right. It's a nice pour, but it just needs a little something there. So I thought this one will look good with the string pull, the flower string pull across here. It kind of has that pops of that green, metallic green on it. So I'm going to go ahead and get a layer of the Floetrol. Might have to get a little bit more Floetrol out. But yeah, today we're just layering up these canvases. And this is a 6x6 inch gallery wrapped, one of the deep canvases. That last one was as well. And then we have one more 8x10. And then after the 8x10, we have a good one. We have a 14x14 inch, but I really think it's going to be a pretty one. So I can't wait to do that one. So this is our third to the last one we're going to do. So we're just getting a nice base layer of that Floetrol. I like to just shake off any excess after I swipe. I don't know if you've noticed I do that. So we're going to just use these same colors we've been using. So we're just going to use that same string, same color here. Let me get that. Yeah, those are kind of in frame. You can kind of still see that, can't we? All right, we're going to just string pull that across there. But yeah, it was just so nice to get out. And we live in such an amazing area where we can go up the Columbia River Gorge, or we can go up towards Mount St. Helens. So this weekend we chose to go that direction up towards Mount St. Helens. And it was pretty. All right, just a minute. Knocked over the blue, but we got it. We got it. Now we're going to go ahead and proceed, but we knocked over with our elbow the blue paint. But okay, but no worries. It had a cap on. It was fine, but wanted to get it before it did spill. So, all right, let me go ahead and pull this. So once that dries, all that Floetrol dries, we'll just see this shimmery flowers across there. We're going to go ahead and dip this same colors. And we even went up to where there was fish, big, huge salmon going by, and they had been spawning. So they were all, once a salmon has spawned, it's all like bright red. So we got to see the bright red salmon going by. And they were up spawning. So, okay, just doing back and forth, just a regular old string pull, then pulling it down towards me. All right, I think we'll do one more, kind of lower there. All right, so that one really laced up. So there'll just be this real nice lacy kind of floral effect across the top. Oh, awesome. So you've tried this, Janice. So you've done the 4 layers of your flowers, letting each layer dry for a couple of weeks, and then doing another layer on there. By then, the canvas is so thick. Yes. Awesome. I'm so happy to hear. I bet you that is beautiful. And with the flowers, with the floral, it really makes it kind of pop 3D effect. So awesome. Good. Oh, you missed seeing the salmon spawning. Oh, did you used to live in an area that you saw them, or maybe they just don't come to your, sadly, there's some areas where salmon used to spawn and they just don't come to that area anymore. Now, these ones do get a little bit of help from the state. The hatchery does help these ones kind of get all the way up, because we saw them up real high elevation at a spot. And they used to naturally go there, you know, how salmon head back to their spawning spot, the spot they were born to go spawn. And they used to naturally get there, but now the hatcheries do kind of help them a little bit. So, the what? When the reservoirs, we have reservoirs too, so they can't exactly get past and get all the way up there anymore, because it used to be a river and now it's a reservoir. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get that one moved. We have one last 8x10, and then after that 8x10, we do have a 14 by 14 inch. So this one has got some real pretty pops of color there. We've got it stuck to a canvas right here, so we got a little bit of damage, unfortunately, a little bit of damage here. I like to keep freezer paper. I get rolls of freezer paper and then just pull off for the correct size of canvas, and I layer them vertically with freezer paper between. But sometimes the freezer paper gets kind of shifted a little, or sometimes I just don't get freezer paper in between them. They're sitting somewhere and they get stuck. So this one got stuck and a little damaged. So we're going to come into this one and we're going to go ahead and we're going to do, so we want to cover that damaged area as best we can. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do the same exact thing. Some more string pull flowers right across. But the next one, guys, let me show you. We're going to do the second layer on this. So stick around. The next one is going to be our last one for the day, but I am excited to jazz this one up. I think it's going to be so pretty. So in just a minute, we're going to do that one. But for now, let's get this one done. We got to get a layer of our Floetrol, just plain Floetrol. You don't need much, just a little bit. Get a nice clean palette knife. You don't want any paint on it. Oh, you lived in Reading. Okay, I've been to Reading. Awesome. When I was a kid, after my parents divorced, we went and spent a lot of our summers down in California. We went down further, down to the San Joaquin Valley, down to like the Visalia, Tulare, Porterville area. And I spent a lot of my summers down there. So a lot of the summers was traveling back and forth, and Reading is on the way. A lot of times, Reading is where sometimes we would stay for the night, because sometimes we would do it all the way, just drive straight through. And sometimes we would stop for the night and then travel on the rest of the way. But so yeah, I've stayed the night in Reading, and that's about it, and driven through. But yeah, it's a nice, I think Northern California, Reading area and like north is so pretty. So we're just doing a thin layer there. We're going to go ahead and use this same string, same we've been using, but I am going to go ahead, because the paint colors have kind of getting together, muddying. I am going to come in and just give it a little bit more colors here. And I'm also going to put some of the gold down. You know what? We're just going to do the whole, we're going to go ahead and turquoise, we're going right there. This is Cheap Paints Extreme Violet, or not Extreme Violet, Permanent Violet. We get that gold in there, and then that's probably good. Then we're going to do some string pull flowers. Then the next one is going to be a floral like century. It's going to be a different one. I'll show you. It's kind of a swipe flower. Oh yeah, Reading, up the Sacramento River right there. So pretty. But unfortunately, it's so dried up anymore. It's probably much different than when I've seen that area long back, the 90s. We've had such drought that I bet you it is so changed. So we're just going to use that same string. We're going to dip it right there in there. And I did just kind of squeeze off any excess just to kind of keep it, get it nice and saturated. Help it out here, glide it across the top here. And like Janice had said, she had used this technique for 4 layers. That is awesome. I did one a while back where I believe 4 layers is the most I have done. I've done quite a few with 3, only one with 4. I need to do more with a bunch of layers. But we're just going to keep doing this across the surface there. All right, that's kind of pretty good for the center. Now I'm going to go off to each side there and kind of do it. Now all this I'm squeezing off is going to create like little, I'm doing it on a piece of plastic sheeting, so I'll be able to peel it off there and create something with it. I like to create mosaics or use it to do anything with skins. Such a weird term, skins, but that's what we in the poor world call the excess runoff drip as skins. I always think, what do people think that don't know kind of the lingo we use? And we say, oh yeah, use your skins for that. They probably are like, what the heck are these people talking about their skins? But that is this leftover or leftover in the bottom of the pan, leftover on your surface, or you can even intentionally pour skins and it can peel up off the surface, or you can use that then for jewelry making, collage, so much with your skins. But it's such a silly name, but it is fitting. All right, just one more across the other side, and then that one will be done, and then one more for today. All right, now that's just going to give it, not completely cover that bottom surface, but just give it a little, oh, I want that out of the, all right, messy, messy, let me wipe my hands off. Yes, I hope you guys need some rain so bad. So bad. But yeah, Mike, we took Mike to California a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, it was for a funeral, but I grew up going to California like every summer, like all the time. Now, Mike had not been to California till just a few years ago. So he's driven down I-5. We've gone down that trip before. It's quite a long ways down I-5. Down to like the San Joaquin Valley. I can speak. So, all right, there's that one. Let me get that one moved. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get out these cups. We're going to get this moved out of the way. And we're going to put cups down because we're going to put that 14 by 14 inch canvas just right here on our surface. We've just got yogurt cups. This one's really good. I like this toasted coconut vanilla one. That one's good. Now this brand, Winco brand, has a Greek strawberry. Ugh, that one's too sweet for me. Way too sweet. Just making room, and then we're going to go ahead and do another layer on. But this one is going to be our kind of grand finale for the day. So this one has these similar colors. It's got we're not going to use the black, but we've got this cameo pink, Craft Smart plum, and this gold is actually cheap paint gold, which is beautiful gold, but we have mixed up the extreme sheen. So we're actually going to use the extreme sheen, but this is going to use the very similar colors with the color shift as well. So this one, we got a little bit of Floetrol left in our yogurt cup, but we need to get a little bit more. So it's just plain old Floetrol. And always, strain your Floetrol when you get it. See, it's hard to pour out just a little bit. You pour out way too much when you pour from the bottle. That's at least my experience. Let's get that spread out with a nice clean palette knife. This is a 14 by 14 inch. And you want to do the whole surface, even if you're only going to do, be pouring in one area. Go ahead and put the whole surface with Floetrol, because then it'll just look even. It also kind of has a sheen to it, kind of a little bit of it, not super glossy. But if you do just one area with it, you're going to see the difference in the sheen. You're going to see that one area is a little bit glossier where you have put Floetrol, because it dries perfectly clear, but it does have just a slightly glossy sheen to it. Not super glossy, though. Now, you could probably mix your polyacrylic with your Floetrol, then you would have a pretty, the sheen would be pretty glossy. So we're just getting a nice even layer, real thin, even layer. You'll be able to see that. We're getting that cat hair off there. All right. Okay. Now we're going to go use the same colors. I'm going to go ahead and put them in kind of the same little spiral. But instead, so this one, after putting the spiral, I think it looks like it was blown. It definitely, or maybe it was a swipe. Like, so I'm going to swipe each petal out. This looks like it was a swipe through the swirl. We're going to do it a little bit differently with a smaller palette knife. Same kind of direction, that same swirl. We're going to use this Craft Smart. It's Craft Smart Plum. All right. Now we're going to use, this is the Craft Smart Plum, but it has pearl white mixed in it. And it does have that Floetrol that we added a few minutes ago. Not Floetrol, silicone. 2 little drops of silicone. We're going to use these Purple Flash and Plum Flash. And we're going to use our smaller palette knife and just kind of swipe each petal. So it's going to take a minute. Oh, yes. Mike says the only time he's been to California, yeah, 2 different times for funerals, unfortunately, with my family. But stopping at the Olive Pit in Corning, California. Have you been there, Janice, or anybody else? Have you been to the Olive Pit in Corning? Ooh, that's nice. All right, so we got our smallest palette knife. We're going to give it a nice clean off. Even our rag is like shimmery today. I used to use pieces of old t-shirt that I cut into square, and even our rag is a little shimmery. So, all right, now what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to just work my array around the canvas. Just, I really honestly can't decide if I kind of want to do little tiny blown ones. I can't decide. Let's because this is new to me. This is just an experiment I thought of. So, yes, Ginny says she's so excited to see all these dry. I will definitely have to show all these dry, and some of these I'll show dry, and we'll even do a 3rd layer, or even later a 4th layer. So, I cannot decide. I'm kind of, I don't know if I want to do little swipes or little blown. I think blown would be easier to maneuver around than a swipe would be. So I'm going to try to do the blown. So I'm going to do just little petals at a time, and we're going to work our way all the way around the spiral. And this is probably going to take a while, so I think I'm going to have to do it in little spurts to catch my breath. All right, catch my breath a little bit. But yeah, tomorrow, October 21st, is what I call stroke day because that's just kind of the anniversary. And I don't we don't celebrate or we don't really do anything. I just kind of remember it and just think about how far I've come, how far we've come. Mike's been there since day one, helpful, and he definitely took care of me there for a little while. So, just so thankful for his help and him being there, and just how far we've come and what a journey it's been. So, October 21st, tomorrow, will be 16 years since that journey started. So, that's why I kind of wanted to talk about that today and kind of share that is because of the significance of tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and get blowing these ones out a little bit more. Now I might have to, it almost seems like I might need a little bit more paint here. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more so I can get all the way to that outer ring. It just seems like maybe at spots there might not be enough to get all the way to the out. Mainly just kind of in there. So, all right, now we're going to continue around the bend. We're going right here. I want to cover it there. I just wanted to do that. So, don't forget to breathe, Mike says. Yes, I will try not to forget. All right, take a breath here. So I was looking, the reason I came up with this one is I was looking through the different things and I was like, I really like this one, but I just need to add something to it. I think this might be a new technique I really, really, really like. I might do more of this. This type of flower is looking good so far. Whew, it's a lot of blowing to get it all, but I am glad I did this instead of a swipe. I'm liking that. So let's continue. Okay, take another breath. So we are getting kind of thick. I mean, we do see a little bit of this peeking up through, but I really don't know how much we will see peeking up through. This one, we did a lot on top. So we may just barely see that bottom one peeking up through, which I think would be all right. I'm okay with that. But like the other ones, we did kind of a thinner layer across the top. Don't really see too much of it peeking up through. But this one, I mean, we do see a lot peeking up through some of the other ones. This one, we are not going to see a lot peeking up through. I don't think. We'll see. All right, so I think the center, let me go ahead because I do have some air bubbles. So I wish it kind of is off. The original pour was kind of off this way anyways, but it needs to be over this way. But this technique might be a huge one, guys. Not really needing a ton of cells to pop up. Mainly was doing that to pop some of those air bubbles that I have blown. I see a couple more. That air bubble did not want to pop. So this one might look good. Oh, that's too much. Just a second. I was trying to put just a little bit of gold in the center. We put a little more than I wanted to. I was just going to blow out a little bit of gold in the center there. There we go. So I'm liking it. I'm loving that technique. I'm going to try that technique a little more with some other stuff, not just as second layers, but as the first layer as well, going around and blowing it out in a spiral like that. But I could see where that could be really fun. I did use that second bit of paint that I added. I probably didn't need to add that. Could have gone with just the spiral I originally done. The second layer spiral. But I think I will work on this a little bit more. This can be the don't forget to breathe technique. Yeah. Cannot forget to breathe. So quite a few second layers today. I can't wait to show how those, and some of them will become even more. But this one, I think this one has a lot of paint on it, but I'm going to try doing this also with just a little bit less paint and see how it turns out. But I think we will be able to see the bottom peeking up just a little bit, just a little kind of subtle bit. Some little areas we'll be able to. So, all right, that was an hour and a half today. I try to keep it at about an hour, but I had a lot to say, and getting each of these takes a little bit longer to get each of these, the second layer down. The string pulls are a little bit tedious. So, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I have so much fun hanging out with you each and every week. I am actually kind of quite a shy person in person. I'm a very shy person. And so each Wednesday when it's live stream time, it is not easy. It is not natural for me to just get on here. I really got to psych myself out and I got to talk myself into it. And Mike is super helpful and supportive. But I always am like, oh, I don't know. But then once I get going and once I get talking and I'm like, okay, this is good. I'm glad I'm doing this. But it always is, it's not the easiest for me to do, but I am so thankful for you guys and so thankful you guys hang out and you guys are so awesome. So, but this is the last one for today. I wish I could show you like the shimmery, beautiful, like there's so much to this one. So, but there'll be a couple of videos coming out. There's going to be a video coming out with the second layer to this one, kind of a second layer of flames on it. There's going to be some other embellishing videos. I've got just a variety of videos coming out soon. And then soon we're going to have to get into the holiday stuff. I'll be doing a few holiday pours here soon. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Janice. Thank you. I get so tongue tied sometimes. I don't know what I'm saying half the time, but that's okay. I work through it. So, Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. I enjoy getting to know each and every one of you each week and sharing a little bit about our lives and our story and sharing any tips and tricks or new products or reviews or anything. Oh, another video that'll be coming up is I do have this Arteza. They're the iridescent galaxy tones from Arteza, kind of their color shift. So I will be reviewing these and doing a pour with these in the next few days as well. So that's another thing that's coming to the channel here within the next week or so. So, all right. Thank you so much. All right, Yasmin it's probably very late over at Yasmin's over across the pond there. So, all right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I know it must be late for you, Yasmin. So, all right. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you guys. And as usual, be the change you want to see in the world, guys. Be the change you want to see in the world. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You guys have an awesome week. Several videos will be out in the next within the next week, and then we will be live next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So same time next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time will be our next live stream, and I'll show you how these dried at our next live stream. I'll pull these out and show you. So they'll be dry but not cured. So I'll show you next week. So thank you so much, and you have an awesome, awesome, awesome week. Oh yeah, so it's just after midnight there, Yasmin. So have a great night, Yasmin. Sweet dreams. All right. Have a good one, guys. Thank you so much, and have an awesome week.